We've built this strange little world where perfection feels like the entry fee. One mistake, one wrong word, and suddenly you don't belong. And I can't help but wonder, did we invent that ourselves or did the screens teach us to expect it? Because behind the glass, we don't meet as neighbors or friends anymore. We meet as comments, as avatars, as fragments of text. Zeros and ones that don't carry a heartbeat. And when we stop hearing the breath in someone's pause, when we don't see the hesitation in their eyes, we lose the reminder that they're human too. And maybe that's why our patience is thinner, our compassion is shorter. It's easy to demand perfection from a stranger who isn't flesh and bone in front of us, harder to extend grace when all we see is words floating in the void. And we talk about that all the time, right? About how we've lost the ability to really interact, but I think it goes deeper. I think it's shaping the way we measure each other's worth. Progressives, we've been accused of this, and I'll own it. It's happened to me sometimes, holding someone to this unrealistic expectation that everything has to be perfect. And if you're not perfect, then you don't belong. The littlest thing, and we turn away, we shoot ourselves in the foot. Not only in politics, but with our friends, with the people here in these digital circles. Do we hold that same accountability in real life, in our everyday interactions? I think more and more we do. I think it's trickling down. And here's what I mean. Maybe once we saved our harshest judgment for people at a distance, politicians, celebrities, strangers on a screen, but now it's showing up at the dinner table with our coworkers, our families, our friends. That expectation of flawlessness is seeping into spaces where it never belonged. And I'm not talking about Trumpers and MAGA, like just that's a given, into the small ordinary moments where we used to forgive each other easily. It used to be that in real life you'd shrug off a misspoken word, a clumsy joke, an awkward silence. You'd see the humanity in it. But when so much of our time is filtered through a screen, we start carrying the screen's rules into the room with us. We expect people in flesh and blood to behave like they're curated, edited, caption ready. And when they don't, we judge them with the same cold finality we learned online. And that's the trickle down I'm talking about, the digital habits shaping the human ones, the screen bleeding into the skin. Because when the only version of someone you see is their curated online self, flattened, polished, disembodied, it becomes easier to believe they could be flawless and easier to condemn them when they're not. And that loss of softness, that loss of compassion, it doesn't stay here online. It spills over into the way we treat each other day to day. And when compassion thins, when forgiveness feels rare, what's left is this impossible standard nobody can meet. So I think it's all connected. The way we scroll, the way we comment, the way we forget there's a person breathing behind the words. And maybe the real question isn't about who belongs and who doesn't. Maybe it's whether we can still remember what it feels like to be human, enough to let someone stumble and still let them belong. Just some thoughts. Y'all have a good evening.